Welcome back. I'm able to figure out what is the exact error. So the thing is, we are using session here, right? So we are giving session errors and flashing the session messages. So somehow we forgot to use session here. So that is making some error in here. So we need to use this one. I don't know why this is seem to be we are not passing session, so it is thinking that uh, session is not used. So uh, if the session is not used, you don't know what session is. Then if there is no session, it means it think that it is an authenticated one. Somehow it is happening. So just mention that so that the error will go away and we can start creating our new news. So we'll start with Flutter seems to be a good framework. https www.flutter.dev. News created successfully. And cool. That's how it should go. Alright, so we'll have a home link here so that we can go back and forth. Remember, home link is for us to see the uh, news created by us. So let's go to where is the news? Where is here? So here into partials into now about that age. After log out, before logout, we'll have another link saying that home. Alright, so if I hit refresh here, we have home and that goes to home. If I click logout, we can't see this one. Cool. That's all we need here. So cool. Now we have this all this news that is saved in the database. Now what we can do next, we'll show all our data in here, exactly in our home. So the news created by us, we'll show the news created by us in here. Alright, so let's start doing that. Let's start with uh, creating a simple layout, and we'll take care of styling that later on. Alright, so in home.edge, we're just saying that authUser.name here, but let's delete them all. So start with empty4 here and do a container. Do we need container? Yes, we need container. In fact, let's start with body, card body. So card and bg secondary or something, and card body, and let's before that let's delete this one. Let's cut this one for now. So before that we need rows, right? So we need somewhat to be responsive. So let's start with row and let's do col xl ls straw and col. In fact, everything will be fully responsive, so just take 12. Alright, so and let's copy this here. Let's do formatting, maybe later we can do that. Card body, it looks very bad for me, so let's format this. Alright, so let's start with card body here. Inside card body, first we'll see what we can do. So auth.user.name for now. Let's refresh here. It looks somewhat okayish, but the color needs to be changed. Maybe 4 isn't that much good, so let's do 2 here. So we need this to take the full width of it. So what we can do is let's remove not sure about nothing's happening here, so let's inspect this one. So as you can see, this takes all the data here. So but this card isn't taking that much one, so let's remove these two divs. Maybe that might help us. Refresh here. Cool, that is now working. So as of now this works best, and in fact we'll go to news here, hacker news here, and see how it is happening. So this isn't the color, but it's the color of this is somewhat a grayish one, right? So we need something kind of a different color, this color. Alright, let's see what this color exactly is. I have a tool to check what color it is, so I can copy this here. So we can go ahead and change this color instead of here having this. So we don't need to change this one. BG color, we can name this as a BG color, and let's go to layouts, app.edge, and do .bg color of background. Let's copy this one. We need to put hash before them. Right, so now if we hit refresh here, good, now it is somewhat okay. Do we need exactly space? But we don't need that space as well, so we can remove the space. It looks somewhat weird for me, so let's remove the space here, so we can delete this one as well. In fact, we'll do some cleanup here. Alright, so let's format document with it's about. Cool. Now we are able to do things very sweetly. Great. So what else we can do? Now we need to show all the data in here. How we can do that? As we can see now here in routes.edge, we are rendering home just like that, but we shouldn't do that. We can do like, we can't import the model here and we can use, but that is not a good practice. So let's change this to use the controller here instead of using things as a closure. So again, I'm going to use news controller dot what we got here. Above store we have create, we have index, below this we have show. So let's change this create to home or something. So let's change this to home here. Alright, so we need view, we need response. Obviously we don't need request, it seems, but let's see. So we'll say controller.home, news controller.home, excuse me. So we can go to news controller here and home. So we can return view dot render home. It should work fine, right? So we can say uh, it should look fine. And here what we can do, remember we can get the database data from news, right? So how we can get news here? So there are a lot of things we can do. We can easily do by creating const news equals await news dot all. This all, what this all will do is, let's do this one, news, and this news, we'll name this as a news, and we make this as the news, so we can send this as a news. So we need to change that as a JSON here, so that we can use inside our home.h. So just change this news and make this to JSON and send this as news to the view. Alright, so as of now we don't need a response here, so just view will work. Now if I go ahead and refresh here, in fact if I go ahead and refresh here, okay, it still works, right? So nothing problem here, it still works same. So instead of here, what we can do is, instead of the card body here, let's do few things. Let's do if let's okay, this card is creating inside card, we can do each here, so we can use each array in Adonis. So each array which is will be having this, we can name something in news. Remember this news is coming from here, right? So this news, so when we named this, we named it as news, so this is coming from here. So I can use news here. How, what I can name it? So we can name whatever you want. So we can now name this as a story now, for now. So we can name whatever you want. So just this should be the, this should be this one. So this can be anything you want. So I just naming this as story here. So if I do this, finally we need to n each. So if I do this, if I go ahead and refresh here now, as you can see we have multiple Karthik, that because 1 2 3 4 5 6 records of Karthik, right? So if I go ahead and check, we have 6 records here. So as simple as that. Instead what we can do here, in here just we can do story dot title here. If I do this here, just hit refresh. Cool, now we got all the values. So it's something that I just created. So let's delete this sum. Alright, so we deleted that one. If you go ahead and refresh here, now we got this one. Great, this is how it should work. Now we need things like what to say, let's do with the div, so that we can separate things up. So just div here. Psst. Okay, right, we don't need any class. Cut this one and paste this one here, and another div should have the story dot date, right? So remember we have something called created at. If I go ahead and refresh here, we got the date here. Cool. This date is not that much helping, right? We need to show this as 10 minutes ago, 1 year, 1 year ago, 3 months ago, something like that. Excuse me. So for that we need to change a lot of things, right? So we need to change in models, we need to change different things here, Before that, I'll make that into the next video, but for now we will finish the UI for us. So what we can do exactly here, so we need to separate this one, right? So for that we'll start with empty2 here. Exact empty1 is working out, right? So we'll do row, and just like that we can do whatever we want. So what we can do is call excel, call ls for, and mm, let's do excel for, ls for, and xs for, whatever. You can say 6 as well in xs. Oops, you should add call before them. Alright, so now we can say story.created here, and we'll copy this here and paste this down below, and instead of saying this we can say uh, let's say 0 comments, and finally we need to say what else we can say, uh, 0 upwards. Alright, so we'll change that later on. Yeah, this is how it should work. So as of now, we as we can see, this is somewhat uh, not looking great or something like that, maybe, but for us it makes sense. So before sending this for each here, I just need to put a container here. Alright, so I'll just use container, and before every section here we need to close that up. So let's refresh here. Oops, what happens here? It's not working. Fine. Right, so let's check this out here. So let's remove this. Let's have this like this one. So nothing is going to be very bad for him for now, for us now. So we should have a space in between, right? So this is taking the 12, but that is not that much helping for me as a very good thing. So what we can do is we can have a span of let's say span of text metered, and we'll have upwards count, and we'll have the comments here, like well, we don't have need to have this here. So text metered of, not div, it should be span of text metered here, and we'll have uh, story dot created, and finally we'll have the comments count. Right, so span dot text metered, this is a bootstrap class, so you don't need to worry. 0 comments, so this will be the counts here. So let's have a row and space between. Alright, so let's go ahead and hit refresh. That doesn't seems to give space here, so space around or something like that. So right, let's check for space between here. Right, so I just forgot this one here. So let's check here. Row call here. Uh, let's do space between or something like that. Utilities for layout. Space between. I couldn't get that class, but okay. In fact, what we can do here is, at first we'll just do format document with HTML support. Now that seems to work somewhat fine here. So here, after this one, we just need to put inside an anchor tag, right? So just into anchor tag, and we need to put href link as story dot URL. Alright, so inside this you need to put story dot title. Alright, so story dot title. If I go ahead and refresh here, we got this, right? So we can go and click to get everything working. So this is the concept here. So we have somewhat a row that works for us, right? So let's do few things like separating this for us. This have some spacing here, but I don't know why this doesn't got that much spacing. So I just don't want to waste time in this, as I can do a little bit better here. So I just forgot the classes here. So writing CSS doesn't work for us for now. So as of now, this seems to be okay for me, but we need some spacing here. Oh, what else you can do? This kind of different divs. Since what we can do is we can do p tag here instead of span. That might give spacing here. Exactly, I can't say, but yeah, little bit spacing is there. We need spacing here between this, right? So what else we can do? Kind of a tough call, but we can do some little hacks for this. So what we can do is we can here add an NBSP here, so that adds extra spacing here. So just copy this and paste this here, and if I go ahead and refresh, kind of little spacing, but that doesn't go working that much good. Let's copy again and put this here again. Maybe kind of okay. Why not put everything in a container? Go. That seems to be working fine. So this zero comments should be as a href link. Alright, so href will go to nowhere here for now, but we'll change that later. So if I go ahead and refresh, that looks as a link for now, right? So we can go ahead and click here and look for comments. So we don't need to have this as a text meter, so that people do know that it is a link, so that you can click and see the comments. Cool. Now it is working fine. This is the exact layout for us. Instead of here, what we are going to do is, instead of all showing all the data, we just are going to say that this area should only show our created records. All right, so no records other than us. So how we can do that? For that, we need to go to the code again, and we need to go to authcontroller.js, and before getting all the data, we can, this is how we get all the data. All right. So before doing that, what we can do, we can do simple things, right? So like, how to say, we have, as you know, that we can get all the data from authenticated user data from auth, right? So we can get auth data. So let's do const user equals await auth dot get user. So how we can get news from all of our news? So how we can get that? So as you can see, in inside users we have the ID. Inside news table we have user ID, which is same. So comparing these two tables, we can get that, right? So we have to compare the user ID here and the ID in the users table, so we can easily get that. So how we can get that? Instead of saying that all, we can do, let's comment this out so that we can use later. So copy this and paste this here. So instead of all, we can use where, right? So where, all right, dot query, we have query, right? So oops, dot query dot where, all right. So we have the where logic here. So this is how you should go. So news dot query, when you are going to query things out, we just need to specify that news dot query here. So where, what where? So where user ID equals user dot ID, as simple as that. Now if I go ahead and refresh the code here, now if I go ahead and refresh here, oops, what is happening here? I did something wrong. Here, let's go home here. Not logged in. Weird. Let's see what we can get. Auth get user, const user ID here. I did something wrong here. What is the matter here? Let's go ahead to here. Let's do where query, check for where query here. Let's do where. If we go ahead and check where classes here, not exactly this. So we can get relationship data from using where. So not only relationship data, we can get a lucid ORM data using where. So just go to lucid ORM and we can use where here. Alright, so just say wait user dot query where age. Fine. So when you are getting a single data, you need to use first, which will get only the first data in there. So you don't need to use each here. So as this only returns one data, right? So you don't need to use single data. So this will only get the first data in the table, which means you'll get the first React Native is the best data in here. So just to show this to you, I can say return response dot JSON. This is how we're going to show all the JSON responses. So instead of view, it just returns the JSON response. So you need to change this as response here for now. So if I go ahead and refresh the whole, we are not logged in here. So Karthik at karthik.com, and cool. Now we can see we get the first data. All right. So this is how it should work. So we'll change that. All right. We'll change that to again. So how to get all the data? So you should use dot fetch instead of first. All right. So fetch will do what fetch will do is it will collect all the data coming from the result. All right. So if I go ahead and refresh here, we are getting all the data. As of now, every data has own user ID, so that we are getting all the data. So as you can see how we are getting this, we are using a var query. So user ID equal to user.id. User.id is an authenticated user. So right. So we are getting our ID. We are checking our ID and user ID in news table. We are getting that records, which means we'll get the record that is created by us. To make sure this, we can start from the scratch. Let's register a new user. New user, new at ado.com, and do here. Let's do new at ado.com. Submit. Now we are logged in. If you can see, and we can submit a new record, right? So now we can see, let's say Angular is, what to say, Angular works with Angular uses TS, which is TypeScript. So HTTPS, I believe angular.io or something like that. I'm not sure. Let's submit here. Angular uses TS. So if I hit refresh, we have only one data. So we don't have these all the data, which means our thing is working. So as if you log in using Karthik ID, so Karthik at karthik.com, and if you see, we don't have our the last record of Angular uses TS, which is the 7th record. So we have 6 records here. All right. So this is the starting point for us. So I'm somewhat okay with the design, and I'm okay with all the things that is happening here. So I just take a quick pause here, and I'll come up in the next video.